No pressure.
Is anyone on
Welcome
Zoom?
to Demo to Design.
No one's gonna.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Is it rolling?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay.
No one's in here,
Oh, this don't work.
of course.
This is where it all starts. So let's see.
Oh,
So
can I get my
Demo to
mouse?
Design is an architectural reuse business. I think I
Yeah, I
better
do.
take my mask off when I'm speaking. So it's an architectural reuse business, and I've been doing this for 20 years here in Santa Barbara. Started with one door and a need for construction recycling and no idea about construction, but I knew recycling because I'd been a recycling specialist for the County of San Diego when recycling began about 35 years ago. And so, so I started learning construction and met Dr. Foster, and the rest is history.
Where did we meet?
We met at Earth Day, which is, by the way, my birthday, amazingly, April 22nd. And it started here in Santa Barbara, and this is where I am now. So I feel very blessed.
At the festival at the park?
Yeah, because you had a display with a little tiny pieces of wood. Remember that?
Oh, I had a SBCC.
No, you were sitting out there by yourself, really. I think everybody else had left by that time, but anyway, we sat there.
No, I had a table for the school for the.
Yeah, I know, but everybody
Can't
else
even remember
bailed,
when it
and
first
here
met.
you were, stalwart, you know? So, and that's what we need to be, right? We're all pioneers in this field, I'll say, in reuse. And so that's where we met. I just sat there and I was like, well, this is my birthday. And you're going, oh, that's good. And so this is the class that we teach. And I'm going, well, that's pretty interesting. And he says, well, yeah, I think what you're doing is interesting too. And so that's where it all started. And his classes have come to my facility wherever it's been, and it's moved 9 times in 20 years. And so it's the commitment is to expand the potential understanding of reuse exponentially. And we're finding that with the cost of materials being so prohibitive now, and with the lack of materials, because we just are running out of our natural resources, that we need to rethink. So it's not just reduce, reuse, recycle. Now we're adding rethink. Yeah. And so that's what we're doing. So in the past, this is the 3rd year I've been teaching this deconstruction and reuse and repurposing and refurbishing a 2-class sustainability module at City College. And the repurposing and refurbishing just started this week, and we can still take people in if you're interested. Mm-hmm. It's on Wednesday nights from 6 until 8:15.
Some of them have a class with Jim on Wednesday night.
Well, I can just ditch that.
Yeah, that's what we said too.
No, we wouldn't wish that. We wouldn't wish that on Carol if she suggested that about that. No, that would not bode well. No. Of course, you've got priorities, and I will tell you something. I had no idea how cool construction is until I started getting into classes. And it requires so much more than people give it credit for. It's just, it's amazing to me. You have to use all your faculties. Math. You have to know how to present, how to communicate with each other. You know, got it? That's one of the biggest phrases that I've learned. When you're handing a piece of lumber or something to someone, the person needs to say, got it.
Well, we haven't taught them that yet.
Oh, you haven't gotten to that? Oh, okay. Where are you at in this anyway? What is this class?
Reuse is the unit we just did.
Well, tell me what you learned.
Well,
It's so easy.
What's reuse mean? How's it different from recycle?
Well, use it for the original purpose. But right?
instead of it being crushed
Right.
and foundered somehow
And
in
more energy
melted
put
or,
into it, yeah.
you know, so that's the distinction. Recycling changes form, reuse doesn't. It can be used for a different purpose. It can be repurposed, but it's essentially a door is still a door. It's not chips of wood. Of course, a lot of the current doors are chips of wood that get glued together, unfortunately. But the ones that, not this one, but this is a fiberglass door. But the ones that I have that you'll see in here are solid wood. The distinction between solid wood and solid core is that solid, what is it? Did they know that? Solid core means that you take strips of lumber and you glue them together so they're heavy and they have glue. Glue is heavy. Solid wood is made from dimensional lumber, which is, I'm not even sure that's a real piece of lumber right there, but this one behind it. It's terrible. Once you get the bug for construction and lumber, you know, you
So
just
when
love
you
it.
get a solid core door now, if you just went to Hayward and ordered one, would it be dimension lumber on the inside?
No, well, it depends. If it's a panel door, there are two types of doors.
Yeah.
There's either a slab or a panel. And a glass door or something is considered a panel door because there's sections, but a slab is just all flat. This is a slab door. Okay. If you go to, if you get a panel door that has glass in it, chances are you'll have some real 2x6 on either side, possibly. But there's also a good chance that it wouldn't be. And it's just going to have a veneer on the top of it. And that's what, that's a big distinction for me. And the older homes that around here, the homes by about 1970s is when the quality of materials started to decline. And so when someone wants a door or something from my facility here, I'll always ask them what year their house is. And that really tells me the level of quality that of the building materials that's in there. And in fact, Portland, Oregon is the first place in our country to establish an ordinance that requires that any building that is, they started with any building that's older, that built before the 1930s, must be deconstructed instead of demolished. And then they changed that to the 1960s because they recognized that the quality of the material that was used up until that point was really high end. So
No, they used to
ask me
make,
some questions because I could go in any direction.
they used to make a plywood, a cabinet plywood that had a solid core, had pieces of wood, real wood in it. And if you looked at the edge, you could see they go like 6 inches and then there'd be a little gap and then another piece.
You know what? I think we
They
should
don't do
take a
that.
look at the materials.
Yeah.
And I think that before I turn y'all loose in there, let me just give you an idea of a couple of things that we're thinking about doing. How long do we have? An hour?
Well, hour and a half.
What do you think about the chandelier? You have your 10-foot ladder?
No,
Well, there goes that project.
I've got a sliding ladder that'll reach 10 foot, go against the wall.
This is
I
in the
went to
middle.
school and they
Okay,
went,
I have, you're tall, maybe you could do it. I have an 8-foot.
okay. The school, I don't know where they are. Nobody knows.
How did you get into
So we're on the Home
Starting
Depot,
a
I think it's
business.
on sale.
It's a good question. Thank you. So what's your name?
Alec?
Alec?
Yes.
Alec, hi, I'm Carol.
Hello, Karen.
Alec asked the question, how did I get into this business? And I will tell you that, really long story short, when I was in college, there were a lot of things happening in the world that caused me to quit for 5 years and travel around the country by myself with no vehicle, I might add. During the Vietnam War and desegregation, which started in my hometown in Charlotte, North Carolina, and And then there was the Cold War, and there was Vietnam. It's like everything was just topsy-turvy, and it was the American Cultural Revolution. And I was part of that, and they were going to give me a teaching certificate and say, because I was in the program, and I was good to go teach, and I just went, no, I do not know enough to be worthy of being a teacher. I need to learn about life, and so I quit and didn't come back for 5 years. But by the time I had finished that walkabout, the one thing that was most important to me was resources. I saw how little we really needed to live on, and it just kept resonating with me. And so that was right when Keep America Beautiful started collecting, having litter collections, and we started paying attention. Did you know how recycling started? The fast food industry in the I guess early 60s, I guess, started having, when you're driving along and you're drinking your soda and you're eating your fast food, and then you get to an exit off the freeway, well, that's where you roll down your window and you throw your trash out. That is what happened. Fast food industry coincided with the litter awareness program, Keep America Beautiful, and from there, people, when I was teaching my students and they didn't really want to do litter walks, we figured out that there were certain commodities that we were picking up. And so we started graphing those commodities. It's like, okay, what do you see? You see a nail, it's metal. Cigarette, it's paper. Cigarette box, paper. Cardboard, a comb, plastic. All the things that you see in the trash that's just lying around, those, each one of those is considered part of, it's made from a commodity, which is a universally understood, accepted value for a type of material. So corn is a commodity, electricity is a commodity, wind is a commodity, and there are people who invest in these things. So in any event, that is what the distinctions of recycling is based on, the different commodities that are marketable. And so you've got this, what do you recycle? Plastic, glass, aluminum, steel, cardboard, paper. Okay, each one of these has a value. And so then and right now the problem that we're having is that China was taking all of our recyclables. And they quit doing that all over the world. They quit taking everybody's recyclables, which has put the onus on our country to make some changes. And one of the changes that has occurred is that our state has required that 65% of every construction site of the debris that's left over from it be recycled or reused. And unfortunately, our county specifically is not in compliance with that. And so people say well, we'll just put it in a roll off and Marburg will take it, and Marburg's doing its job, but it's getting to the landfill with things in it that could be reused. And we're going to be taking a look at some things that can be reused, everything in this warehouse. So I started this thing 20 years ago after I had, okay, so when I was teaching, and I started teaching about the commodities, graphing the different commodities that we were collecting. And then we started making things from reused materials, and then we made things like take refrigerator boxes and weave them together and make a great big backdrop for a puppet show. So interesting reuse of materials. And then we had the recycled royalty float for Christmas, where we had 100 new plastic gallon jugs that we cut out and nailed around the outside of the flatbed, and had litter critters who went into the parade grounds and picked up all the litter and put it into that. and we had a recycled royalty king and queen, and the Christmas tree was made from a carpet tube and yardsticks and shower curtain rods, and then the ornaments were like tin cans with a nut inside it to make the sound. And I mean, and the star was, you know, when you're cooking and you have a splatter shield, you know, that to keep the grease from flying around. So the star was a splatter shield with clothespins all around it. And the king had a Kentucky Fried Chicken tub on his head, and he had a scepter that was a plunger. So, you know, just having a lot of fun with the whole idea of reuse, of being creative. So when I got to Santa Barbara and all the environmental studies majors were taking the entry-level positions that I was vying for with years of experience, I just went, okay, I have something to offer. I am going to have to start a business because there's nobody else doing this. And Habitat hadn't come to town yet. And so I started with one door and got a storage unit, another container and another container. And I was in behind the Creekside Bar in a 2-story building. And I was, you know, I've moved to my whole operation 9 times. So I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute, but that's the introduction that I'd like to give you. And I would just say that the stairs are, don't have a guardrail on them. And so the only time I want anybody to go up those is if I'm there. Okay. So that, but we do have a couple of things that we would like to get done if you're interested and want to help. One is that you'll see I have a great big chandelier that needs to be put on a hook up above. That's one thing. And another project you'll see is a cabinet in my office that has shelves, doors that need to be installed. And then it's not much room in there. I'm just giving you a heads up. There's a mantelpiece in there that was from Rodney Utt's deconstruction that I helped him with about a year ago. That would really like to have a home up on top of the loft. So just, you know, when you're in there, you can take a look around. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm always checking it out to see what's happening. One thing is that when they made this $50 million causeway for the steelhead trout.
This is for trout, causeway?
Pardon?
This is for trout?
Yeah.
Has it ever had water in it?
A few inches.
Still?
Maybe right now. So anyway, they didn't pave this one little section right here up against the door, and so in order for me to move anything, I have to use my
Perfect.
just look around for a few minutes and on.
I just bought a 25-inch sink. Ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta get special.
Yeah.
Your cabinet?
Well,
So shutters, there's such a lot of work to make them.
yeah.
You'd think we could figure out some, creative ways to reuse it. Yeah, she's got some See us from the gym. They were throwing all that away. We hadn't raided. Okay. I think this is the Massachusetts from Robinson. Probably. Huh?
Looks like it.
Because it's so much fun to make. A lot of work.
They just got thrown out.
I guess they were down. That's the place we had.
Okay, so I'm gonna task you with something. I'm gonna ask you to find one item in here that you want to know more about. Something that you think is interesting or one item.
All right, well,
Yeah, you just stole it.
I just stole it from you.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chose it.
I want to know too. I'm piggybacking on that. Your glass balls. Or porcelain. Oh, it might be for.
I think this is door hardware. Like it's like for
What?
kitchen cabinets.
Excel.
Hmm.
What is it?
I don't
What,
know.
is,
It
what am
might
I
be-
supposed to get from that though?
It could.
We
be
thought they
for,
were
like, pottery.
drawer knobs. No.
It's probably pottery colors. So you know what color it is when
for a
you're
wild time.
pottery when you're putting
For the glaze?
the glaze.
Oh, maybe.
That's what it looks like to me.
Carol, we're very curious about something right here. This.
I think this is for pottery, for
Or what?
glaze.
Door hardware, right?
You know what? I added this, these are cabinet pulls,
Oh, okay.
and this is a sample board, and so that's why there's no two that are exactly the same.
Mhm.
And when I was in Mr. Utt's class, I was, no, what was it? Oh, yeah, I was assistant. I was an
Like right
assistant
at my
teacher to
ear.
him for a class. They made boxes, jewelry boxes,
Oh, cool.
and I gave them each one of those to put on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So this right here is an example of reuse. It's two screen doors with a big drawer that is on 3 levels with casters. In construction, you don't have wheels, you have casters. And this, it has at least three levels. 1, 2, you can hang stuff as well, and then up on the. Okay, so.
You know what, that debate whether there's more wheels or doors in the world.
You think there's more wheels?
I don't know. I don't really care. This is a neat door handle.
450, man. You break it, you buy it. So that stuff is clay. But we can't do anything with it.
Oh, you can't.
Well, because we got red flagged on the building on our shade structure, so we can't,
You got red flag
yeah.
because it's for needing a permit.
It has to go through an architecture review first. So, yeah, but that stuff is clay. One of my classmates wet it and rolled it up into a ball.
Yeah.
But it's like really nice clay. It's like clay you use for like your face as like a mud mask or something.
The kind I gave you?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, so I can market it.
yeah, there you go.
Mask, facial mask stuff,
Yeah,
but not for COG?
I think we could use it, but I mean, that structure wasn't permitted or it didn't go through architecture review, so. Mike knows about it, but
Oh.
right now we're on hold
Well-
with everything, so
Oh, okay.
building wise, unfortunately.
I see.
Yeah, we could do one at your property though.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Come on.
Yeah.
Here, I'll let you. No, I'm totally game.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. So who's got that camera? If you want to come up here and look down on the people,
I've been
that
blind.
would be helpful.
He looks down on everybody anyway.
Yeah.
Look at where his eyes are.
So come on in this way and
Let me share this with you. Okay. So I gave you a little heads up about the, like I've moved so many times. So I finally combined several places into this location. It's down, it's near the construction and demolition facility. Huge facility, and I had a great big paved, locked, gated area. It was wonderful. And then they doubled the rent, and they also somebody paid a year in advance, twice as much, in order to secure my place. So I had to find something, and I couldn't find anything. I had to get a temporary site. I had to move the entire facility to a temporary site. And then 10 months
Is
later,
that by the airport?
yeah, by the airport. And then 10 months later, I had to find another location. There still wasn't any place to go. And so I was very fortunate to kind of wiggle my way into this place, and I'm holding on to it. So then this is, but that other place downtown, this is what it was like inside. And those stairs and that little loft are right here behind me. And I got those stairs and that material by taking out a 4,000 square foot mezzanine and dropping 8,000 pounds of 2x12s. And all I kept was what you see here to build this loft. And so it was built just like this, but it was 4,000 square feet. This is 600 in here, to give you some idea. So if you were standing on top, up there on the loft of the other place, and you look down, you would see this podium, and see that I had this thing that I call the reuse it workshop. And then that right there is my porta kiosk. It doesn't require any tools for assembly. It's just tongue and groove, and it's parked right there. It's red, you can see it. And so it just latches together. So there's, on everything is, well, not everything. What I'd say is that pretty much we can usually find a way to not have to buy new material if we really consider it. And so that's great. This is Mr. Dr. Foster will remember this. Okay, so the bottom picture is a picture of the product that his classes, like you, built for me years ago. It's called a custom casita. It's a permit exempt structure built from reclaimed doors and windows and reclaimed lumber. And then up on the top, you see the City College gymnasium seats being disposed of, 19-foot, 10-inch long. You notice it was not 20 feet, right? 1910. Beautiful, 65-year-old. Yeah, really beautiful. So,
Yeah. So she doesn't have a picture, but were you involved in that? We had a class,
the pergola?
the pergola at the daycare center. You ever been to that daycare center?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Across the main campus?
I know that.
Yeah, so I had a class of high school kids, and we clamped all these pieces like this together and made posts. We screwed them all together and made posts and made beams. It was all done by 1x12 and 1x8.
So
The whole thing, I mean, it's a lot of work, unless you had cheap labor, it'd be cheaper to buy the beams, but we had a class, so that's free labor.
nothing is free, Dr. Foster. Nothing is free.
Well, that's right, they took it out of my time.
So,
No,
so
the
the other
students
one
have
I
to pay
kept was where the cheerleaders sat. That's, and then I do have some small pieces for samples so people can feel what it's like. There's just a small amount of it still left over there.
What's that right there?
It's
You
the casita.
Photoshop that onto the?
Yeah, when I was moving, my interns photoshopped the casita onto a trailer bed to show that we were relocating. Yeah, so all these flyers that you see have been made by interns, and so that's part of this business. It gives them an opportunity for hands-on experience. And usually,
Are you gonna show them that? You gonna talk about that?
no.
I'll talk about it. So this was in Carol's yard. It's the first casita she built. And it's really nice. I mean, people rot sheds, like yoga structures or meditation structures, or just to get away from their families, their backyard. It's actually pretty common. That looks really nice. It's just made out of leaves.
So when we started building this, the people, he wasn't part of this construction crew, but when we started building this, the reason I was building it was to not have to pay for storage. Okay. Oh, this tiny little thing is like a spit in the ocean. But the thing that was interesting is that we had no idea how to build it or what to do. All I had was an apple tree on this side and a fig tree on this side and some doors. And next thing you know, we drew this, marked off the design on some masonite and just started figuring it out. And we actually, Patrick and I have designed a couple others, and we built a kit once, right, for a playhouse. Yeah. And then this is part. I had to disassemble my casita when I moved here because there was no place for it, and it's parked in a container at the wake center. Every so often I go by and I go, I'm coming back for you, honey. I promise I am.
So you can see this is all, it's got glass doors, and then it's got solid doors, and it's got windows. And then it's got, if you have a sloped roof, you have to put something in here. There's some screen in here. And this was just some long windows. But the big challenge is to make them airproof. You can make them waterproof, but it's tough. But because you're putting all these outside pieces together, that's kind of a trick. But we figured there's so many doors that are being wasted in windows. Why can't homeless people, we could use that as shelters for that. It would be free, except for labor. Right?
Yes, and would you please, there's a rolling thing for that fireplace. Would you please turn it off? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk to you about the community reuse program and the ideas. I want to find out if you think we're going to have time or ability to get this up, because I don't have any other place to put it and it's in my way. Unless somebody wants to buy it.
Dylan, if you're on an 8-foot ladder, you could probably reach that beam.
Yeah, probably.
Screw something in, yeah.
Yeah, does that seem like the most appropriate place? Maybe over there.
Oh,
Maybe over there would be better.
you can almost reach it from the stair. Wow.
I mean, I can hop on Lewis's shoulders too.
How much is it?
Yeah,
Do you want a today price? Walk out of here, you give you the money and I give you the chandelier?
no.
Oh, well, then that's a different story.
What about that saw up there?
It's not for
Well,
sale.
what is the price if it was?
Good try though.
What about that small little vice right
I
there?
think probably 350.
Okay.
You know, okay. If you guys.
How do you determine the price?
Thank you. If you guys had more time, what I was hoping we could do was to go through the whole process that we would need to be able to market the chandelier, which is, the first step is that we take it outside, we set up, I've got a colorful backdrop, and we take some pictures of it from different angles. We measure, somebody else measures it. You identify what kind of metal it is. What do you call this? This is this type of frosted glass. And then what we have to do is we have to research and figure out, which I wouldn't expect you to do today. But that's something I would really like to do. It's a project that everybody could get involved with.
You put a lot of your stuff on Craigslist or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have tried other marketing systems and, you know, Craigslist, what I do is I basically only respond to people who call me. No text, no emails, nothing of that. I want to talk to a person because I have been ghosted so many times.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's ridiculous. In fact, it turns out the bots are so good these days that I communicated for 2 days with a bot. I didn't know until I finally said to this person, you know, I really would like to speak with you. And that was it. Done. No more. No more. That's because they're warning everybody to talk to. But how did you know? Anyway, so that's something else. So since that's not gonna happen.
Do you have a hook? Do you have a hook? You can hook it on here.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you got a whole drawer.
Remember these?
Oh, yeah,
Remember?
Yeah, yeah,
these?
yeah. So-
Okay, let's videotape my phone off the ladder. Okay, we'll angle it right there.
Who's on YouTube? We'll get about speeds.
Oh, okay. Consider the number of put it on the list.
Okay.
Go out here.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't have a screw, right? Yeah.
Screw right there.
Anything that has.
So one thing I'd like to note, you to know is the spatial management. So I didn't realize that I had that skill until I started really trying to fit things in here. And like right now, I see I could probably fit 10 doors in that door rack right there, because I can see the space that I have available, and I measured 1 3/4 inches because that's how thick an exterior door usually is. So it would have to be basically 2 inches to be able to have some slide room. And so as you look around, you think you want to be able to see as much as possible. So it's a merchandising technique. And you put the shortest at the front to the tallest in the back. And that's a concept that kind of gets messed up sometimes when people help it around. The lumber loft is an example of that. If there's a short piece of lumber and there's tall pieces in front of it, you'll never see the short one. You'll never know. So that's why I designed a cart that's at the end of this group of windows, specifically with a section that's cut short so that you can see the shorter pieces. So does anybody have an item that you wanted to ask about?
That vice right behind you.
This vise?
Yeah. How much is it?
That was at a, when I went to a deconstruct on the Mesa, anything that I wanted that was left, I could accept. And they were happy to have it not be going to the landfill. So this was one of those things that I got.
How much does it cost?
You need a vise?
No,
You need
but I like a
ag
vice.
Okay, well, we're better for that. So, I'm also a drummer. Yeah, so why don't we talk about that another time?
Okay.
I don't have a price on it. That's the answer.
Okay.
And some things you'll see around here say NSF, which means not for sale, like this green.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I found that certain items add ambiance to the scenery, and if I sold all the cool stuff, then it wouldn't be as interesting. But I will tell you that my goal is that all of this stuff is going to be gone, and it's going to be made into other items. For example, I'll have displays of materials that have been recreated, repurposed. And this will be more of an education center. These stairs, the way I got these stairs, the reason I wanted them is so that I could have another level, because I love having a different perspective. And these stairs required my taking out a 4,000 square foot mezzanine, and I was dropping the lumber, and I was fighting with these other people who were in there with their just big time screw guns going and men and doing it all the time. And here I am doing the best I can. I call myself Susie Screwgun when I'm doing that. And somebody, I had taken all the hangers off for 12 sticks of 12 by 12s. And they were ready to drop. And then I left that night, came back the next day, they were gone. Gone? No, we didn't take anything. No, but I said, not only did you take my lumber, we'll bring it back. Okay, see, so they admitted it. No, I don't want you to bring it back. What I want is for you to move those stairs to my facility. And so that's how I got them. Because I figured they'd never get the lumber back, right?
Yeah.
But you just have to negotiate, and that's part of this whole business. So that brings me to an important part. What else do you want to know about? Anybody have an idea of something they want to find out about?
Where'd you get the saw from?
Norway?
That's a cool saw.
That saw came, and I'm glad you asked that question, because part of the delight of this business is the story. And that's what makes things, I have the Natural History Museum flooring, actually, that you guys could help me renail sometime. And that would be a great project. It's at the Wake Center. So that saw came from a barn on Ashley Street in Montecito. And there was a carriage house and a main house and a huge barn, and an old retired contractor had saved all sorts of wonderful things. And nobody had an interest in them. And so I came along.
What I've noticed is it's hard for like antique type stuff to get sold in this area, like in California type stuff, because everyone wants everything new. But if you go to like Minnesota,
Right.
there's antique shops all over the place, and I've gone to Minnesota a few times. And I just love going in and just I want that, but I can't get. No, my mom goes, you can't get it home. I'll drive home.
You know what? That brings up the key to this business, which is who's listening? Figure out where it's going to go before you pick it up. Number one is safety. Number one of knowledge is figure out where it's going to go before you pick it up. So if you would reach it. See how, be careful, brace yourself. See how heavy that is? Don't fall, because there's another one coming. So looks can be deceiving. And so when I knew I had to find